I want to start with a story that we talked about yesterday, courtesy of Russell Lissau of the Daily Herald, who wrote on this earlier this week. The South Barrington Park District sale of underdeveloped land to the Plymouth Brethren Christian Church has been halted and now apparently on its way to court. The real estate closing is on hold. It had been scheduled for Tuesday. The church was set to buy a 34-acre site south of where Bartlett Road and Route 59 meet, north of the woods of South Barrington, right north of that subdivision. They were going to buy 34 acres plus for about $1.7 million. That raised some eyebrows. The district leaders postponed the real estate closing after receiving copies of a legal complaint. The complaint targeted the church, the park district, and the village, was brought forth by anonymous South Barrington residents. And the bidding on the property featured only one bidder. Voila! The Plymouth Brethren Christian Church. So the story is somewhat interesting, complicated, seems a bit obtuse. Let's welcome Russell Lissau back to Double the Else to discuss it. Russell, thank you very much. I guess my first question is, I mentioned this yesterday, how did this get so close to being done without the community apparently being aware of the deal?
You know, that's one of the issues that the opponents, the residents of the nearby neighborhood, are asking. You know, how did we get to this point where it wasn't publicly disclosed? And some of them are complaining about transparency. Some of them are complaining about the process. On the surface, everything looks like it was on the up and up. And I have no reason to believe, as the reporter covering this story, that it was anything other than on the up and up. There was a referendum. The referendum passed. The referendum question was, should we go to auction for this piece of property? And it was a resounding yes. The Park District held the auction. There was one bidder, the church. They bid. They won the property. Now there's a closing, as there would be for a house or any other piece of property, and that's where the residents are getting involved.
It just seems 34 acres, Bartlett Road and 59 for $1.7 million, and the only bidder, I'm sorry, that seems fishy. I'd buy it for $1.7 million.
Well, more power to you. It is, from what I understand, not a really buildable piece of property. And I don't know how the church is going to do, if it goes to the church. I don't know how they're going to do what they're going to do there. I've been told the topography is difficult. There's wetlands out there, which make building anything difficult. They're going to have to negotiate. They're going to have to negotiate some environmental factors. There's also the matter of location. If you look at a map, it's a triangular crossing. It's not a straight north, south, east, west out there. These two streets come in at an angle. And although the property, which on maps anyway is called Area N, the property is squarish, the land around it isn't. So access might be an issue. And that was, in fact, one of the things residents were complaining about, that in the original draft of the church's proposal, people praying at the church, people going to the church or the school would have to drive through their neighborhood. They weren't happy about that.
Talking with Russell Lissau, he's from the Daily Herald. We're talking about the proposed sale of the South Barrington Park District land to a church. And to advance the story now, Russell, I guess it is heading to court, the first argument next Tuesday, September 5th.
Yeah, there's going to be a hearing, or at least a hearing has been scheduled in Cook County Court. It'll be held virtually on the request for a temporary restraining order. There has been no formal lawsuit filed. The only document filed has been this emergency request for a temporary restraining order. I've spoken to people on both sides, and they don't actually expect the judge to hear the case. A continuation is expected. This may just be a very quick hearing, over and done. We're going to set the new court date at, whatever. But, you never know what a judge is going to decide to do.
So this starts, it's going to, wind up in court. We don't know how long it's going to take. Has the church issued a statement at all in response to this?
The church has said they're looking into why and how the closure was halted. Remember, that closure was supposed to happen this week, the closing on the property.
Tuesday.
It was supposed to happen, it was supposed to happen Tuesday. And it sounds like they were caught by surprise as well in the brief statement I received through a spokesperson from the church. Now, the church is it's a worldwide organization. It's a fairly small church as far as it goes, according to its website. They have about 50,000 members. This isn't the Catholic Church we're talking about. This isn't a really large, internationally well-known organization. So I don't know how they're going to handle this.
Why is this odd? Why are the complaints, the people who brought the complaints forth, the South Barrington residents, why are they remaining anonymous thus far?
I don't know. And I asked somebody that, in any lawsuit, you have to have a plaintiff. And if you look at the request for the TRO, where normally there would be a plaintiff, it says something to the effect of residents of South Barrington or South Barrington residents. It doesn't identify anybody. And I mentioned that to one of the purported leaders of the opposition movement that, you're going to need a plaintiff. And they said they were aware of that and that, between now and whenever a suit actually is filed, I would assume that'll be resolved.
So South Barrington is in there, the Park District's in there, and these anonymous residents are in there. So by Tuesday, we'll probably have some names.
I would hope so. There are attorneys on both sides, of course, and there's an attorney of record already in the filing. Again, I don't know what will happen on Tuesday, if it'll be any more than a 30-second let's schedule a new date hearing, or whether the paperwork will be updated. Or, again, maybe the judge grants the emergency TRO.
Interesting story. Caught my eye. I'll check out the story as it advances, thanks to you at the Daily Herald. Russell Lissau, do you have a book signing on Saturday, my understanding?
As a matter of fact, I do. A friend and I, another writer named Steve Horton, he and I will appear at Gem Comics in Elmhurst to promote two graphic novels that we've written and co-written. I contributed to a book about Tori Amos, and Steve wrote a graphic novel biography of David Bowie, and we'll be at Gem Comics from noon to 2 p.m. on Saturday in Elmhurst.
Is it close to that legendary Elmhurst Tavern? Gosh, what's the name of that place? It's such a great place. I haven't been there in years, but the Spring Inn. The Spring Inn, is it close to the Spring Inn?
I don't know. I'm told the store is a great store near the train station, near or in downtown Elmhurst. So I'm looking forward to checking it out.
And what time is that on Saturday?
It runs from noon to 2.
All right, Russell. Thanks so much. I enjoyed the story in the Daily Herald. We'll see what happens on Tuesday.
Thank you, John.